So hello, and brightest blessings, everybody. And this is Lindsay from Super Secret Powers here with the Magic Bringers Rising episode for August 21st to the 27th. We're almost in September. But find out this week how we might be having this amazing energy crescendo that might just change everything. So stay tuned. Welcome to Magic Bringers Rising Chats, the show by Super Secret Powers. I'm your host, Lindsay Baldessano, and let's get ready for a dose of energy healing, channeled guidance, and humor to keep your intuitive flow open and your roots grounded so you can lead the life of healing, spiritual purpose, and magic that you want. So now, before we jump into today's episode, I want to invite you to my 5-day free masterclass experience called Unleashed. Because I never thought I'd be able to be a person who worked in community. I always felt like way too different. I always felt way too deep. I always felt like nobody ever really got me. And that is really why me and my friend Andrea, why we've created this masterclass experience and, of course, the paid membership that this is launching. Because, we've been there. We've been through the manifestation classes. We've been through the healing class. We've been around the block and back with all the different techniques and modalities and thought processes around the spiritual community. And it was just like, you know what? Like, so much of this is so compartmentalized that, it's not holistic. It's not something that comes from the whole of who we are. And right now, especially coming into our midlives here, we're like, we just want to be us. And we want to be us with intuitive flow, and we want to figure out what makes us tick. We want to be able to, and we have been, which is why we're even offering this, but we want to be able, this is like the hatchings of it, we want to be able to understand our own intuitive process and be so at peace with it, so empowered by it, that we feel like we can handle anything, to come back into our sense of confidence and security in our lives, in ourselves, and being able to say, you know what, I need better boundaries, so let's do this, because I don't have time to waste anymore. And not only don't I have the time and energy to waste on situations that aren't working, on, muddling through the transition points I know I have to make in my life so that I am living a healthy, more vibrant, more energy filled, more resonant, more aligned life. I want to step into my queendom. I want to feel good about my life and about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And I want it just to be so flowing and authentic to me that, like there's no room for doubt, because I know I finally know what I'm doing, because I feel like I'm doing me, and that's it. And so we made Unleashed, and so we made Queen of Your Inner Realms membership circle for intuitive development, for coming into your own energy and learning to plug those leaks and learning to hold your boundaries, your energetic boundaries, and learning to work with your own natural gifts and abilities for healing inside out, so that you are radiant, so that you are confident, so that you are your inner queen. So join Unleashed. Look for the links at the top or the bottom in the show notes. Now, on to this week's show. Hello, and happy, I don't know, just have a happy week. Next week it's the blue moon, but we're not there yet. But this week might be a week of bold action. I say might be only because Mercury retrograde does start this week. But I have a feeling that if you've all been kind of working on your upgrades, if you've all been working with the energy, turning my sound off here, with the energy of Mercury instead of against it, if you haven't been fighting the upgrades that have to take place in order for, the next couple months to really fly by in a flowing way, it might just be a week where, everything seems to coalesce and change. And okay, there might be a little bit of rehash because, Mercury is just going retrograde. But honestly, for me, and I was saying this to my friend Kim the other day, I only feel like it really drags on for like a week, because then we reach the halfway point where we start building into the action phase, and the rehash review period isn't in effect anymore. And now we're starting to see rehash review and then resolution. And we tend to feel better as things just begin to inch their way toward resolution because, well, we don't have to worry about the rehash and the review stuff anymore. It's a different energy phase. So, take this week for what it is. By next weekend, we're going to already be kind of inching toward that action phase again. So, so everything's temporary. So learn to work with the energy that you have, right? So Monday we start off with a little bit of Venus stuff, which really just brings in the whole truth and self-trust, especially because she's retrograding in Leo, wanting to be seen for who we are. Saturn, we have, Tuesday, we have Saturn and the moon doing some stuff. And to me, it kind of feels more like coming out of denial or coming out of avoidance or resistance. So you're also going to then be able to see things from a different perspective, a perspective of how can I make these things work? My subconscious is telling me these things should work out. Maybe I need to look at my patterns a little bit more. Wednesday, retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Thursday, we have 6 planetary bodies in retrograde at that point, which it's going to be good for a higher perspective. Plus, we have Mars trine Pluto, which is like ambition through cooperation. It's exemplifying leadership because we can get people in agreement with us. And this isn't necessarily in a manipulative way, unless, of course, you're stuck in some Pluto shadow stuff. But for most of us who just want to kind of swim through our daily lives and, just get on with it, it's the harmonious manipulation to make people realize that they actually have more in common than we do different, right? So it's not a bad thing. That's working toward the greater good. And just realize that maybe you're just the person who has to demonstrate that, or who has to just bring that forward in whatever situations you find yourself in midweek. Friday is a Master 22 day, so expect to be feeling a little bit more on the ball. And Saturday, we mainly just have, on top of everything, it just seems to highlight that we have this cosmic height in the sky. And we've had it for a little while now. But it's going to begin to wane. So some of that energy of breakthrough and of realization, might start to ebb a little bit. But that's okay. As we come into mid-September and things start falling out of retrograde, we are also then a month away from eclipse season, which brings a whole other phase of review but transformation. And then on Sunday, we have Saturn in retrograde. It's already in retrograde, but it'll be at its closest point to Earth, and it's kind of opposite the sun. So we're kind of just like retuning where we're going with things and how we're dealing with our responsibilities, our obligations, the things we made promises to do, and whether those promises are something that still need to be kept or whether it was just a momentary boundary slip. But as we go into this weekend, things might get a little rocky. And this is also why, like, this week and next week are kind of like transformation, because we have on next Monday we have Uranus going retrograde in Taurus again. So that's like home, health, wealth, all that kind of stuff. And this Uranus in Taurus stuff has really put us through our paces. You know, once in a generation, or maybe not once in a generation, but once in 3 generation kind of historical activities. And the deeper we go with this, because it won't last forever, I mean, it's going to change signs eventually. I want to say in the next year or two. I didn't bother to relook up that date for this because I didn't think I'd be talking about it as deeply as I am. But I wouldn't expect the shocks to be so big, of course, as they were. And they weren't really last year when it first went in 2020. Of course, we all know what happened in 2020 and 2021. We're coming into the tail end of this. Or at least, I want to say the tail end of it. It feels like the tail end of this. So expect these shocks and revelations that come with Uranus being in Taurus and now going retrograde next week. Expect them to be like a little bit more like resolution based, a little bit more nudging us toward really figuring out what we need, the structure, the perspective, the higher realization of what we need to start building system wise for ourselves, for the health, wealth, and all that kind of stuff, home, hearth, to really start working again in a different way, because we really need that resolution right now. We really do. And it's coming. It's just, all these influences are happening as they happen. And I feel like it's a repeat in a sense of, what happened at the beginning of the 1900s. So, I mean, it won't happen exactly like that. Different cosmic influences, people in different places, I think, in, spiritual evolution, if you want to say it that way. But, yeah. Whole new chance to really bring in, like, from the bottom up kind of systemic change. And then next week we also have Blue Moon, and I think it's the only one this year. Again, things I didn't look up before I went on the video because I'm like, we're only talking about this week. It's been a long weekend for me already. I did my second fair of the year yesterday, and I don't know how many more I'm going to get to do, just period. But it was a great day, and thank you, NEPA Pagan Pride and Cups for putting that on. But, oh my God, we were in the sun all day long, and so like it was just like my brain was baked like 2 hours into the event. And we still had to tear down and move everything, and but it was such a great day, and such a great day connecting to so many people. So today we are doing a brand new thing. We are doing something I just kind of received and worked out. So it's a little imperfect, and we can learn to work with that though. Um, we are doing some balancing, and I expect this to be pertinent and relevant for the next 2 weeks as we enter into this phase where we are really coming into our boldness, coming into this energy of being able to act from a much higher place within ourselves, really our inner queendom. I expect we're going to start getting more and more revelation, more integration, more ability to see how things are kind of wrapping around to a point here as these 2 weeks, as we deepen into these 2 weeks. So, as that stuff comes in, this is going to be an important exercise, practice, energy thing, healing, because it's just going to help us balance out what we're receiving and noticing the differences and kind of building from there, almost like a gap analysis, if you want to think about it that way. We're just going to start at the root chakra, go up to the crown. So we're then just going to say statements at each energy point and kind of gauge where we are with it. And as you learn this and work with this type of exercise, you can then, take a little longer. So it's not just me doing a quick version of it. Just that you could really begin to fill in what you need, right? Because this is just showing you the exercise. And this really just comes from my guides at this point. So this is a bit of a something different because this is what came through today. So I have 2 different pieces of selenite. Just gotta sink in, just take deep breaths. Forget about your day. Forget about what you have to do 15 minutes from now. Just be very present right now. Deep breaths. Let your shoulders relax. Let your stomach relax. Let your jaw relax and your eyes. I want you to get nice and calm and still. And just start at your root. You might want to put your hands over it. Just kind of move it around a bit down to your root point. And all of these statements are kind of fill in the blank. And just say whatever comes to mind first, quickest. So I belong to. And conversely, I stand firm in. And just do it again if you have to. To find what is most flowing, what is most healing, what's going to have you bring everything into balance down in that root area. I belong to. I stand firm in. Moving up to the solar, to your belly, lower belly area. I'm sorry, did I say solar? I'm in sacral. The statement is, I love this kind of affection. And the converse is, I love giving this kind of affection. So I love receiving this kind of affection. I love giving this kind of affection. Again, take your time. Feel into these emotions. I feel like this one might take the longest. So moving up to the solar, right at the top of your stomach, end of the rib cage. And the statement is, I choose, dot, 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 I choose this. And conversely, I unchoose, I release. I choose, I release. This might get your head popping a little, but for now, just kind of breathe into it. Release the need to figure it all out right now. And just feel into what feels most true. Even if that's saying, I choose myself. And I unchoose obligation, feelings of obligation. You could even start with something simple. Move up to the heart. I think there can be a lot of different statements we can say around the heart, but what came through was, I love receiving the feeling of, and conversely, I love giving the feeling of. I love giving love like. I love receiving love feelings like. I love giving love feelings like. There's a lot of releasing around these statements. So now we're going to move up to the throat. I speak for. And I speak against. I speak for. And I speak against. Again, we're just seeking balance. We're seeking what's going to get you feeling more flowing, more centered in you, more ready to move with the action that comes through as truth in all of your energy centers. I speak for, I speak against. And moving up to the third eye. I love my visions of and conversely, I create new vision around. So you love your visions of, and you create new vision around what? Now moving up to crown, we have a bit of an odd statement, but it's what needed to be said. So just feel into it and feel the balance of it. I am light and shadow. I am shadow and light. I am light and shadow. I am shadow and light. Just adding a little further smoothing out for the collective as they do this practice. And what also feels good to add in here is as we come to the end of this practice, feel the energy in your feet. Move your attention to your feet. Wiggle them around a bit if you have to. Let's also anchor into some Malkuth energy, the energy of this living world, of all the life flowing through the jungles and the seas, with the waves crashing on the shore, of all the people at the beach, of the singing and dancing and joyous things that happen over the world, our collective, our matrix, of all the good things. People and light workers just keep adding into that grid. Keep adding into our collective life force here on this planet. And if you can, try to sense, perceive the heartbeat behind it, the rhythm, the flow of it, the drumming force of life around us. You are part of it, and you are part of this dance, and you are part of this song. So don't forget to move, and move with joy, and move from joy. And so it is. All right, I love you all. If you found this helpful, certainly like, follow, share, subscribe to Super Secret Powers, or I think the tag on Facebook and YouTube is actually Your Super Secret Powers, for more. I am on weekly with this Magic Bringers Rising kind of energy report chat thing. And I also do Living with Intuition with my friend Andrea on Wednesdays. And please go look for the link in the show notes and sign up for Unleashed. Because isn't it your time? Isn't it your time to shine? Isn't it your time to finally feel good about yourself, your life, your dreams? To be flowing with your own beautiful energy. I can't wait to see what magic comes up around that. Oh, all right. I will see you around the webs. Brightest blessings.